Down south now to Tamil Nadu, where the Madras High Court sentenced the Higher Education Minister K Pondmudy to 3 years of imprisonment. This is in a disproportionate assets case, and they've also imposed a fine of 50 lakh each on both him and his wife. Now, these are charges that actually go back to 2006 to 2010, when he was a minister in the Stalin cabinet, but of a different ministry. Now, since he's convicted in this case, he'll be disqualified from the assembly as per Section 8 of the Representation of the People's Act. Essentially, he will no longer be able to be an MLA. The High Court decision comes 12 years after the FIR was first registered in this case in 2011. Now, what will the impact be on the DMK party? How will this reflect in elections that come around? We'll take a deeper dive into all of this. First, very quickly though, take a look. We spoke to politicians on their reactions. Take a look. Okay, we're first going to take a look at what Narayan Tirupati had to say. Take a look.
We welcome this judgment, BJP welcomes this judgment, and it is a lesson for those who loot the public. And Mr. Ponmudy should have gone home, should have gone to the jail before 3 days itself, but he continued to be a minister, which is shameful. And we strongly condemn the DMK, which has been looting the public, and this is the lesson what they get, and this is called the Dravida model. Now, with this judgment, we need to understand that not only the person who is looting, their family members are also being punished. His wife, Mr. Ponmudy's wife, is also given the same sentence.
Okay, let's go over to my colleague Purnima to understand more. Purnima, the political ramifications of this judgment are immediate. He's going to be disqualified from the state cabinet and the legislative assembly. But can you tell our audiences first, before we take a deeper dive into this case, more about Pondmudy himself, his significance to the DMK party, especially because the DMK has been trying to say that this is all being done by the centre, by the establishment. Will they still be able to frame it like this after the High Court's announcement?
Well, when Ponmudy and his wife appeared before the court, before the judge pronounced the quantum of sentencing in the 2006 to 2010 period, when he was the Minister of Mines and Minerals, and in connection with the disproportionate assets case, Ponmudy and his wife maintained that in fact this is a very old case, and this has nothing to do with amazing wealth to the tune of 1.7 crore rupees, more than the known source of income. This is something that the DMK says they will face it legally. Now they are planning to move the Supreme Court today to make an appeal before the Supreme Court in connection with the sentencing that has been given to them, 3 years of imprisonment. So now the DMK continues to maintain that they will face it legally, and that it's a very old case. It's a 12-year-old case, and this is something that they will fight legally. And in a short while from now, the DMK advocate, the counsel representing Ponmudy, will address the media. So there will be more clarity on that front. While we've seen the DMK talk about how central agencies, including the IT and the income tax and the ED officials, were trying to target the opposition parties. In this case, it's the court that has given its verdict, and therefore the DMK's stance is that they will face it legally, and the legal team will move the Supreme Court to fight the case, because it's a very old case. That's the official word that's coming in from the DMK, but more clarity once the council addresses the media in this regard.
Okay, can I just ask you to stay with us? Let's go over to our legal correspondent, Ananya Bhatnagar. Ananya, what options does this leave in front of Ponmudy, if any, legally speaking? That's question one. And question two, if you can tell us, they also face another disproportionate assets case relating to when he was the transport minister. They were acquitted earlier this year in that. But what happens there? How do these charges add up?
Well, definitely, this conviction that is now coming from the Madras High Court to K Pondmudy, the Higher Education Minister in Tamil Nadu, is something that could be a very, very big political setback, because remember that as soon as he's been convicted for more than 2 years, that here it is a sentence of 3 years, and that's exactly why he'll be losing his legislative membership. The Speaker can initiate proceedings against him and can disqualify him from the legislature under Section 8(3) of the Representation Representations of the People's Act. Now, what the RP Act, or the Representation of the People's Act, Section 83 states is that if any person who is convicted for 2 years or more, or under any serious charges, then immediately he stands disqualified. Even if the speaker doesn't initiate any action, he is still disqualified. But a formal communication would come in from the assembly speaker in this regard. And another very, very important thing is that just to stop this disqualification from happening, the only option that he has at this point of time is to approach the Supreme Court, seek a stay on his conviction, because already a stay on his suspension, imprisonment has been given for in fact 30 days to make an appeal before the topmost court of the country. That is generally granted, but the stay on conviction is something that is a little difficult to secure. If you remember, Toya, the case of Rahul Gandhi, if you remember the case of Lakshadweep MP Mohammad Faisal or Afzal Ansari, these are very, very recent cases when it comes to, and Rahul Gandhi's case being one of the most prominent one, where he had to get that relief completely from the Supreme Court. It was the Supreme Court at the end, because he had it had started from in fact a trial court, then it had went to the Gujarat High Court,
Ananya, we need to shift tracks. I'm sorry.